Good morning, Brian King here. It's a lot earlier than usual for me to come to you today. First of all, if you're watching me live, please comment, hashtag live, if you're watching me on Facebook, of course. And if you're watching the replay on Facebook, please comment, hashtag replay. I had intended to come to you with something completely different, but then I, like many others, woke to the news of the passing of legendary cosmologist and theoretical physicist titan Stephen Hawking, who has lived with ALS for decades and passed away, I think, last night or sometime this morning. And just the outpouring of love and admiration for this man who has been physically voiceless for decades and crumpled into a wheelchair for all these years, and yet his intellect has remained as unchained as anybody imaginable. I won't go over all the quotes that he's famous for because you can read them yourself. They're all over Twitter. Twitter is my second home online to Facebook. And I can't help but reflect upon how many times I have referenced Stephen Hawking as a role model for me. As my MS progresses and I'm using assisted devices like wheelchairs far more often, it's so easy for me to look to Stephen Hawking and say, but look at what he's done. He's in a wheelchair. Look at what he's done. Look at how it hasn't stopped him. And he's an inspiration to me to use my mind more when my body is not as giving. I grew up running around, hiking, going on trails, practicing martial arts, and I used my body so much to experience life. And now I'm having to rely upon my reflection far more. In fact, when I was initiated into Zen Buddhism by a Zen Buddhist master back in the early 90s, he gave me the Dharma name Sozensho, which means that it is in my nature to reflect. So many people spotted in me early on that one of my greatest strengths is my ability to reflect upon things. And I come to you every day in some way, encouraging you to reflect more on how you approach life. I mean, just recently, I started playing with the moniker of resilience hacker. The idea that I'm looking to hack into the human experience to see opportunities for resilience, to find new and better ways to embrace and grow from the challenges that we face day in and day out. And when you look at Stephen Hawking, he sure as hell was a resilience hacker. A lot of the quotes he had were about how his physical disability will simply not hold him back, that he's got so much that he wants to do in his imagination, so much that he's contemplating and wants to explore. And even to this day, there are a lot of people that I see, people that I admire greatly, who spend a disproportionate amount of time working on their bodies. Not that this is a bad thing, it's very healthy. Then you going to the gym and exercising, there's plenty of research that shows how healthy it is. But I caution you to not let that be at the expense of your imagination. Let it not be at the expense of your ability to reflect upon how you live your life, what you do with it, what meaning you find in it. If you weren't able to use your body, what would your contribution be then? Would you still be able to find meaning, to find work, even if you couldn't use your body? And Stephen sure as hell did that in spades. I mean, he was a titan. He outshined so many people in his intellectual capacity because he took the time to imagine, to reflect, to ask those big questions about, what are we doing here on this planet? Not necessarily, the meaning of life, but look at the decisions we're making. Look at the choices we're making about how to treat this planet, how to treat each other, and then expect our quality of life to not change. So there are so many big questions that you could ask yourself. But the biggest lesson to me from Stephen Hawking's life, because frankly, I don't understand the physics part, but the biggest lesson for me is that wheelchair or not, your greatest contribution is in your mind. even those who have succeeded physically, the gentleman that broke the 4-minute mile, or people that have the fastest man on earth or physical accomplishments, you must understand that those accomplishments began in the mind. Mental discipline, deciding to go after goals. So even if the achievements that you make in life are not ultimately accomplished through your body, so what? You can still do amazing things between your ears in who you choose to be, what you choose to contribute to the world. So I want to encourage you to read up on Stephen today and his contributions, and think about some of the things he's done, what he's thought, what he's said, and how that can influence the way you see how you live today. Let his legacy remain strong, because he offered so much to us on so many levels, and he's impacted me greatly. I want to finish with one Stephen King quote that is particularly fitting for me. He said, don't look at your feet, look to the stars. And what's ironic is that when I do walk, I look at my feet. I look down because I am a huge fall risk, and I'm afraid of tripping over things, and including my own feet. So that's just a reminder that, yeah, I'm trying not to fall, but I have to also remember to fly. So I have to keep looking to the stars as much as possible. So I'll leave you with that. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching. If there's somebody else that you think can benefit from this message, please share it with them. Now I have to go off and share this video with my email list of subscribers who get me in their inbox every single morning. And if that's something that you would like for yourself, go ahead and shoot me off your email in Messenger, and I'll make sure that you get a copy too. In the meantime, that's all for now. This has been Brian. Take care.